So Christine's lights are staying on. I think I know why. Anyway, I'm gonna let her pull the car out and I'll show you guys too, if it's correct, the reason what I'm thinking. Yeah, there.
What?
You see your feet? You see your feet over there? You see this?
Yeah.
All that stuff? That's why your brake light is staying on. You gotta tape the penny or a coin to the back of the pedal. So this right here is the stopper for the brake switch. It pushes the brake switch down to turn off the tail lights or your parking lights. Turns off the brake lights. Anyway, when this gets old, it gets brittle like this and it breaks. And you have one on your clutch pedal as well that pushes down the neutral safety switch on the back of the pedal. So typically when these things get old, they break like this, and then there's nothing to push those switches down on the back of the pedals. So if it's on the clutch, you won't be able to start because it won't push the safety switch down, and on the brake pedal it won't pretty much turn off the parking lights. So a quick easy fix is get some tape, get a coin, you know, I use a penny. You could go out and buy this rubber stopper, it'll be a few bucks, but it'll just take a penny and some tape to fix this. So it's up underneath on the back of these pedals. You're gonna have to get underneath the dash to find it, but yeah, quick easy fix to turn off these brake lights. What you're gonna wanna do is follow the brake switch, the brake pedal, and then you're gonna see like a button, like a switch button, and you're gonna use your finger to push it. I'm gonna tell you when the brake lights go off. Yeah. Okay, so now that Christine got her brake lights fixed, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the next project for the day. We're going to be setting up the air suspension on the 34. Today we're going to be mainly focusing on the management. I don't know if I have everything because I actually purchased these things a very long time ago. So we're going to go ahead and try to piece everything together and see what we have and see what we need to order. So like I said, I don't know if we're going to finish today, but you guys will see the finished product in this video. So originally I wanted to go with a more simple hidden setup. I already have a bunch of things, so let's see what we got. We got the AirLift. I think this is like a 4-gallon tank. I don't think this is a 5-gallon tank.
It's tiny.
I think I have an idea where I want to put that. Got some airlines, fittings, water traps. These are the dual compressors right here. I have more airline, more fittings, and I'm going to be using this for my thread sealer. And then I'm going to be running the AirLift 3P. You can see how dusty this is because we got it, like I said, a long time ago. We actually purchased this setup when we purchased the yellow cars air suspension, but we knew that we were going to save it for the 34 when the 34 came in. So that's why these things they've been sitting for a while. Anyway, I did actually already go ahead and install the wiring harness in the 34 a while back when I went ahead and set up the subwoofers, because I needed to run cables to and from the front to the back of the car. So while everything was out, because you need to like remove the rear seats and all that, I already went ahead and installed this wiring harness just to be a little bit proactive and not have to retake everything apart. So the wiring harness is already installed. It's just power, ground, and accessory wire, so pretty much the same as installing the subwoofer amplifier cables. So that's the reason why I went ahead and did that right off the bat, just to make it a little bit easier for myself in the future. But if you guys don't know, the AirLift 3P setup comes with the controller, the wiring harness, and some installation things as far as like inline fuse, mounting hardware, and then as well as the valve block right here. On the channel we have like the budget air suspension and stuff that we started off with. The 350Z is actually still on that type of setup. It was, for us, it was sub $1,000 to get it bagged. But now that I have pretty much the car of my dreams. I did want to go with something a little bit more modernized, a little bit more simple as far as having everything in one package. So that's the reason why we're going with AirLift on the 34. So we're gonna go ahead and get this all situated, figure out where we want to put it in the car, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so this is the trunk. We're gonna figure out where we're gonna put everything. So of course I'm gonna take off the sub. I really kind of want to fit as much things as I can under here. I know the tank won't fit, so I'm thinking we'll put it up on this shelf over here. But let me go ahead and take all this out and see what we're working with. So as you guys can see, I got my amp here, and then I have the wiring harness already hooked up. All right, so I'm curious to see if this tank is way too big to fit under there. It might be, but I know for sure the compressors and the block will be able to fit. So let me go ahead and scrap this. Set you guys back down here. It's too big. It's literally this. I might have to put it here, guys. It actually fits really nicely right there too. I might just shove it, not shove it, but I might install it right there. Okay, so before I go to the store, I kind of want to mock up everything to see what I have and what I need. So I'm going to be running the compressors in the wheel well, so that would be remote. And I'm going to pretty much tee them together and have one line running straight to the tank. So I pretty much have 5 ports on the tank. I'm gonna see which ones are gonna be used and which ones need to be plugged, and see pretty much if I have everything to plug them up. Okay, so this will be my inlet from my compressors. You always gonna wanna have a pressure relief, emergency pressure relief valve. Luckily the kit comes with it if you order the kit. If not, you have to buy it separately. So I have 2 more ports left on the tank, which will be used for a quick connect for air hose, so I can fill up air, pretty much onboard air. And then I have 1 more for the drain. So I have to see if I have these fittings. This will be the drain, which will be running out of the car to a Schrader valve. So in an emergency, I could also fill up air through this, or I just push the Schrader valve down and it'll shoot up the water condensation from the tank. So all I need left is this. Okay, so we just got back from the store. As you guys see what we got. So I got these 2 pieces of wood and all of these different fittings and stuff like that. So what I think we should do is we'll set up the tank first, get everything situated on the tank, and then we can go ahead and start working on placing everything back into the car. So everything in this bag cost me about 50 bucks or so. Fittings are kind of expensive if you gotta buy them in the store. But luckily I just needed the threaded adapters and stuff like that, because I'm kind of putting this all together like on a budget. So I had most of what I needed. So that's good. But like for instance, this is an 1/8 fitting going to a 1/4. So I need adapters like this. Would have been cool if I just had an extra one of these. But when you're in a pinch, I'll need a couple things. So that's the reason why I went ahead and just went to the store and bought these things. If not, I could have waited and went online, but I'm a little bit excited to get this car going. So I kind of want to get this done today if possible. So I went ahead and just purchased. And then I usually use tape, but I saw people swear by using actual thread sealant. So I'm gonna go ahead and use some thread sealant. The reason being is because I'm trying something new, you know what I mean? Just because I know one way works, I also want to try other ways. So I went ahead and bought this Loctite 565. There it goes. Okay, so drain ports on. Again, this will be running from my airline straight to a Schrader valve, but it's not like a Loctite where it makes the threads hard. It just kind of just seals the threads. It's like a liquid tape. And just so you guys know, your fittings, they don't need to be super torqued down. They do need to be tight, but like you don't need to screw the threads all the way till you can't see them. You just want to make sure that they're snug. This is good. I think the only thing I have to set up on the tank left is this coupler. Quick connect for the air line for the onboard air. So again, this is your safety relief valve. So in case your compressors for some reason they don't shut off and they just keep filling up, this will release the air at a certain PSI rather than let the tank completely overfill and then have the possibility of it pretty much exploding in your trunk or in your back seat, wherever you have your tank mounted. So I recommend to always put one of these relief valves on your air tank because it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure in the tank. So on this side, like I said, we have your pressure relief valve. This will be the inlet from the air compressor. We have a 90-degree fitting. This will be where the airline and the Schrader valve will be. And then on this end right here, we have the outlet to the valves manifold. And then we have the quick connect for, you know, like air. If I need to fill up air in my tires or fill up somebody with air, something like that, it's always good to have onboard air. So next on the list, I have this Union T right here. This will be connecting both of my compressors together into one, and then the line will be running out to the tank here. So I'm doing that so that way I can mount the tanks remotely rather than have them go straight into the air tank. Reason being is because it saves on space. As you guys can see, it's a big trunk. It's just not a lot of places to put all this stuff without it being right in your face. So when I was a kid, me and my dad used to build Legos all the time, so this is pretty fun for me because it's like adult Legos, you know, like putting all this stuff together piece by piece and just kind of figuring it out. No instructions. I like to figure things out. It's enjoyable to me. Seems so much more, I feel so much more accomplished at the end. This is pretty much it, and then all we have to figure out now is how to mount everything. The tentative plan is to have everything pretty much mounted to a board. It's the whole point of me getting this board. Oh, it almost fits perfectly right. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this up, and then I kind of want to mount everything. I should use a cardboard to get this layout first and then see what I need to like cut. Okay, so I just cut this box up to match the size of the actual board itself. Then we're gonna go ahead and place it in here and figure out exactly the shape that we want, pretty much. We'd want the board to sit as flat as possible. So this is pretty much the rough shape we're looking for. I like it. It gives us a lot of space to mount everything because the compressors need to be mounted here, the block, as well as the amp needs to fit on this board. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this center out, and then I'll probably put like a bracket so I could bolt this down to the wheel well. This existing hole right here, so I don't need to go ahead and drill any more holes into this car, which is the whole reason why I'm putting this board, is because I didn't want to really drill holes into the floor of the trunk. So I'm gonna put the board here, and everything will be kind of like quick disconnect as well with the wires. So in case I do need to remove this from the car, I'll just unplug everything rather than have everything screwed on, you know what I mean? So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and cut this out. Okay, let's see. Get it right. That's so perfect, bro. So perfect. So much hairy, boys. Okay, so now we can start like figuring out where all of this stuff is gonna go. So let's just say I bolt the amp there. This is kind of like where I want it to sit. So we got the orientation of the feet changed because we're gonna lay it flat like this so it can fit on the board without being too tall. And then I also finished up the union for the two lines. So there's the check valves into this T, and then this T will go into the 3/8 line to my tank. So this is the first time I'm gonna be running like a remote compressor setup. So I'm pretty excited. It's gonna be like a hidden setup, so everything's gonna look a lot more clean and simple like I want it to. So we're gonna go ahead and put this on the board in the car, and we're getting pretty much close to getting this all wired up, which would be the last step. I already got the amp and the power block mounted down. I'm gonna go ahead and configure where I want these two to be, and then I can go ahead and bolt down the manifold as well. So it's like, that seems like as good a place as any right there. So the only thing left that we have to do is just wire it up and bolt the compressors down, and we're done. The whole point of me putting the system like this is so that way I can individually take all the pieces apart. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bridge the compressors together and then have one wire connecting to the harness, so that way I can quickly disconnect the compressors if I need to swap them out or something like that. I just have it easily like maintainable or easily like removable piece by piece if I need it to be. So we got it grounded, compressors hooked up, plugged in. Okay guys, so it is time to test to see if it's all working. It's not finalized yet, but I do want to make sure that the compressors and everything comes on. So luckily I already ran this cable all the way to the front, which will be for the remote. The good thing about this setup though is that you don't need to run a remote if you don't want to. You can also just use the app on your phone. But I like the convenience of having the remote here. So moment of truth, guys. I'm gonna turn the key on and we're gonna see if the remote lights up. If it does, that means I did everything correct. If it doesn't, well, I don't know.
Oh yay.
We're approaching 2 minutes. That's 2 minutes and it's at 1:30. I think the shut off is at 1:50. Yeah, it's at 1:50. I just need to get a mount for this, and then we should be good. So turn this off. So everything works. The only thing that we have to do now is pretty much, I want to get a better angle on that fitting, so I'll probably get another fitting and then mount the tank. And we need to get hardware to mount down these compressors and just a bracket for the board to be bolted down. Alright guys, so we just got back to the store. I got everything mounted up, compressors are mounted. I went ahead and made this bracket right here for the board. So now this thing is solid. It's not moving. I put the inline fuse. So this pretty much more or less is going to be what the setup is going to look like. Again, it is not the prettiest. This is not meant to be seen at all. But it's just kind of organized. This little roll, I guess I could make it look a little bit nicer, but for the most part, I'm happy with it. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it like this for now. I'm probably just gonna cut the cover and lay the board over here so that way we can see it all nice. But for the most part, guys, this is it. You know, I'm gonna go ahead and run it and see if this makes a lot of noise. If it is, I'm gonna just add like a little padding or something underneath the board so that way there's not so much vibration. But for the most part, the compressors from 0, it stays on for only about 2.5 minutes, which means from empty, or not from empty, but from after filling up the bags, it should only stay on for about a minute or so up until the pressure switch cuts everything off. But for the most part, guys, I'm liking the way that it's looking. Everything is pretty much organized. This is for the feed for the tank. I'm gonna have to hide this, but I tried to get a fitting to replace this guy right here. I need a 90-degree fitting because if you can see, it's shooting straight out towards the side and that's not gonna work. So I have a fitting on the way in, And then also this drain tube right here, this is for my Schrader valve. I have to run it out to the car somewhere easily accessible, so that way every now and then I can just you know, hit the Schrader valve, release the water that's in the tank, stuff like that. Oh yeah, I do need to add in my water trap. So it's gonna be, I'm gonna run it before the manifold in between the tank. So I'm probably gonna stick it like here underneath this little bracket. I'm gonna make a bracket and mount it here, and then this feed line right here will go to the water trap that I'll mount here, and then the out feed will go straight into the manifold right there. But like I said, guys, let me go ahead and cut the board real quick, and then I'll show you guys it all covered up. I'm pretty sure this thing will lay perfectly flat. So ideally I don't need to make a new one, but if you see how flimsy this thing looks, I kind of want to make a new one. So I'm gonna pretty much just cut something out maybe a little bit wider than this, and then yeah, we should have a good board that'll be nice and sturdy rather than caving in like this. But for the most part, I think it's gonna work. So I'll probably copy this top line, follow this tracement, and then just extend these from this part on a little bit more, and then this part can come out a little bit more, a few inches. Check out this little board I made. Made a little handle here. I wonder if I should chop this corner. Right here. My angle is a little off, but that's all right. Like I said, you're not going to be seeing these. All right, guys. What do you guys think? Everything is hidden underneath there, and of course, like I said, I gotta find another spot for, or another fitting for this side, which is coming in the mail. I don't know, might just leave this right here when I figure out where I'm gonna mount it, but for the most part I'm happy with it, guys. So I really like that now I have a hard platform compared to that flimsy piece of almost like a cardboard type thing. So I don't have to worry about touching, or this sinking I should say, into my electronics under there. And then if I need to get to any of this stuff, of course I have the handle hole right there. And yeah, guys, I'm pretty excited. Let me know what you guys think. As far as the tank goes, I'm gonna get that fitting in first, and then I'm gonna make sure it fits nicely between the two, I guess, strut towers for the rear. And then but it's looking promising. I just had to pull it out a little bit because, like I said, that line shoots straight out, which doesn't let it tuck back in. But for the most part, this side actually fits really nice. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. I wanted to go for a pretty simple setup, a hidden setup. But if you wanted to, you could make it a little bit extra and go ahead and put like a plexiglass window, some LED lights and stuff like that. Make a nice chunk setup, even some hard lines. But for me, like I said, I wanted to do like a hidden setup so I can still utilize the trunk space. The R34 actually has a surprisingly big trunk, and I mainly got the car for a cruiser. I know I'm setting it up for drifting and stuff like that, but it's mainly gonna be a cruiser, you know what I mean, for me and my family. It's the whole reason why I got the 4-door version, is because I want, you know, Christina and Kaylee to come cruising with me and stuff like that. You know, we don't really have a car that we can cruise because a lot of the cars were built, you know, for drift. And Christine's S14 is, you know, it's quote unquote a show car, so we don't really drive that car often. I'm not gonna go too extravagant with the R34, at least not yet, because like I said, as soon as I get plates for this thing, which I still haven't yet, but once I do want to take this thing cruising. So hopefully we can get some cruising content with that shortly in the next, you know, month or two coming up, once I get some free time and get this thing registered. But for the most part, guys, the air struts are supposed to come in today, but they actually didn't. They were delayed, I guess like 3 or 4 days apparently due to the weather. So that's no problem. I'm still waiting on some fittings to come in and stuff like that. So hope you guys are excited. You know, we're gonna finally get this car on the ground soon. You know, it's been up in jack stands in the garage. But you know, I'm just having fun working on it. You know, it's like I said, it's one of my dream cars to have, and just being able to buy parts and make it my own, you know, slowly but surely is truly a blessing. So with that being said, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for all the support you guys show here on the channel. We could never do this without you guys. You guys keep us motivated to keep doing this stuff, you know. So I just want to give a big shout out to you guys. And yeah, stay tuned for the next one, guys. Hopefully we can get this car on the ground in the next episode. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out and stay good.